Hi friends, Naji here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we will be discussing on Nginx and we'll be seeing how can we install that into EC2 server and we will try to do some basic operation with respect to Nginx. As I said, this is the agenda. We will have a introduction session will be there, installation, and we will see how can we implement the Nginx. And as a part of introduction, everybody knows it. Nginx is a web server that's used for load balancing, reverse proxying, and caching static files. It's known for its performance and the robust architecture. There are a few advantages. One is high performance. It's provide load balancing and provide content caching, provide reverse proxy, and SSL or TLS termination. So these are the few advantages with respect to Nginx, and we'll see one by one in our coming videos. And there are a few couple of disadvantages. That is, its configuration is a little complex. I think we have to. It's not that much complex, but we have to give some careful when we have to give some attention when we do the configurations, and there are less features compared with the Apache. So these are the few disadvantages, and we'll see how can we install Nginx in a EC2 server. Okay, and for that I have logged into my AWS console application, and let me go to my EC2 menu. Okay, so in my case it is available in the recent visited, and if it is your first time, you guys can go and search here. So this is the global search window. Here we can search EC2. Just click on that. So we will have the EC2 menu. Now let me click on this launch instance. Here I can see Nginx demo. So we can see multiple options or multiple images like Amazon Linux, Mac OS, Ubuntu. So we'll be using the Ubuntu. Let me scroll it down. We'll be using the free tier available, which is a minimum resources we require. Okay. $64, and I'm keeping everything as default. So this is the T2 micro. This is the instance type that we are using. Say micro in size. We can create key pair if needed. So let me create a key pair, and I can give a name as Nginx demo. Let me create a PEM file. Okay. Now rest of things will be default. So let me launch the instance. So launching is in progress. Then go to the instance menu. We can see it's up and running. Okay, so we are using T2 micro. Now let me try to log into the instance. For that, here we can click on the connect menu. I'm going to connect, and I can use EC2 instance connect. This will help us to connect through the web browser. So let me connect this. Okay. So a new window will come, and it's establishing the connection now. We'll see how this works. Okay, so now the connection is established. Now let me clear it. The first command will be, we can first update the OS. For that we can use sudo apt update. So any pending packages will be updated. Okay. So in our second slide, in our fifth slide, I have added few installation steps that we can check. It's a sudo apt update, that is we already done. Now next is sudo apt install Nginx, so which will help us to install the Nginx. So this is done. Now we can start installing, that is sudo install Nginx. Sudo apt install Nginx. Spelling is not correct. Let me do that. So installation is progress. It's asking for the confirmation. Let me give yes. So installation is in progress. Okay, so installation is done. Now what I can do, I can check for sudo systemctl status Nginx. You can check the Nginx status. This is the command to check the status. So we can see its status as a active. So we are good. So once this is done, okay, so we will have some default which will be active. Okay, so for that I can do a curl command, curl things -v. I can do a localhost. Let me check this. Curl localhost. Okay, so I'm just doing a curl to the localhost. Okay, so this is the localhost and this is running on port 80. Here we can see welcome to Nginx, and it says welcome to Nginx. If you are seeing this page, the web server, the Nginx web server is successfully installed and working. Further configuration is required. So this is good. So installation is correct. Now I will try to access this through a web server, I mean our public URL. So if you are using EC2 instance, okay, you guys can come here, you will able to see a public URL here. So now let me click on this public IP, create a new tab here. I'm going to paste here. Let me see it. Okay, so it's not loading, or it's taking some time, right? So the reason why is, I will show you that. The reason why is we have to enable the port. Okay, for that what we can do, just go to the security. Just go to the security. Here we can set the inbound rules. Just go to the inbound rules. Let me come here. You can see this is our security group. Let me go to the security group. And this is my security group. Let me click on this. Okay, so here we have the inbound rule. So now we have only the inbound rule for port 22. Okay, that is only for the SSH. Now what we need to do, we need to enable the port 80. For that I can add rule. Just go to HTTP. So this will be port 80. Now let me select IPv4 for the time. Now let me save the rule. So now the rule is saved. Now we are allowing the port 80 also open for the HTTP request. Now we can see this is, as soon as we enable that one, we are getting the port 80. Okay, so this is what we have seen that in the console, in the curl command. Welcome to Nginx. And if you see this page, the Nginx web service successfully installed and working. Further to configuration required. So we are good on that. Now we'll see from where this page is loading. Okay, for that let me go back to the console. Okay, so in Ubuntu we can see the configurations can be seen in etc Nginx. Let me print the list. So here we can see few configurations. Okay, we can see site, just see the site enabled. We can see site available. Now we can see a config Nginx. See, this is nginx.config is also available. Now let me open it. I can use nano nginx.config. Okay, so here we can see few configurations can be seen. Here we can see the events can be seen, and this is the HTTP. We can say it's a HTTP block, we can say, or we can say it as a context. Then we can see inside that we can see few configuration, few key value pairs are there. We can see in this way. So this is called the directive. So here we can say this is a send file that is on, and so this is one directive. Okay, and after each directive we can see the column can be seen. Okay, and if you scroll down, there are a lot of basic things can be seen. And here please note that here we can see include something etc nginx config.d, and we are including the star.config, and we are including the site enabled also. Okay, so we can go and check etc nginx site enabled, and we can do further checking. Okay, so the goal is, this is the main configuration file. Here we are not seeing anything that is related to this welcome to nginx page, right? So that is why we are going to check on the site enabled folder. Okay, so let me close this. To close, I can use Ctrl X. This is closed. Now let me do a ls. I can go to sites enabled, I believe. Sites enabled. Okay, here we can see a default one. Now let me open the default one. I can use the nano default. Okay, here we can see a server context. Okay, server context containing a directive, that is the listen. Okay, so here it says about, okay, you have to listen for port 80. So this is the server name, that is default, and this is for IPv4, and this is for IPv6. So once the listening is done, okay, it is routing. Okay, whenever we are getting a call, it is routing to var/www.html. okay, and it says, okay, index.html, index.h, and index.nginx.dbn html. So these are the few index file that is referring to here. Okay, we'll see. Then location dot slash, then it is going to the try files and some 404. Okay, so we can check for this. So just understand this. Okay, so here when it come to the default one, that is port 80, it says that we have to redirect to this folder. Okay, so this has to be going to the var www/html. Then we are pointing out the index. So the index will be something like this. It can be index.html, index.html, or index.nginx or despn.html. So we'll go to the var www.html. Let me close this. var www/html. Let me do a list here. See, here we can see index.nginx.debian.html. Okay, now I can do a nano on that. See, we can see welcome to Nginx. So we'll able to see the Nginx file. So whenever a Nginx request is coming, it is coming to redirect to this particular folder, and it is loading this particular file as an index file. Okay, see, I think the initial steps are clear. Now we will try to create a server, and we'll see how can we implement that. Okay, so for that, let me go back to etc nginx file. Let me do a list. Here we can see one more thing. We will able to see site available, and we can see site enabled. Okay, so these are actually connected. So for that, let me show you one thing. Okay, before that, let me explain one more thing. So in site available, we will able to see lot of sites. Okay, I can create many files, but those who are active will be available in the site enabled folder. For that, we are actually creating a connection between site available and the site enabled. For that, let me show you one more thing, one more command. For that, let me do a cd site enabled. Okay, this is not that much complex. This is very simple actually. Enabled. Okay. So this is the default. Now let me do a ls.-l. Okay. See, this actually will give a direction, a linking between these two things. Okay. This is actually giving a link between the site available folder. From site enabled, it is actually connected with the site available folder. So we'll discuss this, how this will happen. So for that, let me go and create a file inside the site available. Okay, so let me go to sites available. Okay, I can do a sudo nano, I can check a demo. Okay, this is what we are going to do, demo. Let me open it. Here I can have a server. Okay, and let me open and close it. I can give a port. I can give a port that is 8080. I can give a location. This will be slash, this will be test. Okay, so I am going to give a test parameter or test path. Here I can pass root. So whenever test comes, it has to go to etc Nginx. I'm going to give a data and I'm going to create a www folder. Okay, so what it says whenever a test comes, okay, whenever a test, maybe like I can make it without test, so that will give more. Okay, so here I am enabling a port, that is port 80. Now I am giving location. Okay, so whenever port 80s come, it will route to the etc Nginx data www folder. Now we need to create data and www folder. We'll see that. So let me close this. Yes. Okay, so here I'm going to create a sudo mkdir. I'm going to create a data folder, cd data. I'm going to create mkdir www. Okay, sudo mkdir www. Here we can see cd www. Now I'm going to create a HTML page. For that I can use a sudo nano index.html. So default is index.html, and here I am going to create a h1 and say the hello world. I can close it here. Let me close it. Yes. Okay, now we have our Nginx is done. I mean our index.html is done. Okay, now go back to the list, go back to cd site enabled, let me go to list. Here we can see only default file is there, right? And to enable a site, the site should be available in the site enabled folder. So we'll be creating a link from site available to site enabled. For that I can use a command sudo link list. I need to link site available. Okay, I can give a complete path now because I am inside the site enabled. So from etc Nginx sites available, then go to demo, and destination will be etc Nginx sites enabled, and you have to move that, or we have to create a connection between the site enabled. Now let me do a ls here. See, we can see a demo here. Now I can create the same command ls -l. Here we can see demo is also linked with the etc Nginx site available. Okay, so once this is done, we need to reload the configuration. Okay, so for that I can do sudo system control. I can restart Nginx. Nginx has to be restarted. systemctl restart Nginx. It says there is some error code. Okay, sudo system control reset is failed to uh, do that. Let me have a -t. Okay, it says the directive port is unknown. Okay, so we need to check that the port is unknown. So let me go and go to site enabled. Let me open the default, maybe something. It will be listen, not port, it's listen will be there. So let me close that. Okay, it's listen. Okay, listen to 8080. Now let me close it. Okay, I cannot close it because I have to pass the sudo command. So sudo nano demo. Now this will be listen. I'm closing it. Yes. So I can do a sudo nginx -t. This will check the configuration. So it says configuration is okay. Now I can do the sudo systemctl restart nginx. Restart is done. I can check sudo systemctl status nginx. Nginx status is also good. Now I can go there. I can connect to the 8080 port. We'll see what will happen. Okay, it's again trying to load. I think it's not able to establish a connection because we have to go and update our rules, right? So we have to go and update our inbound rules. Let me click on this. Here we have only port 80 is there. Now let me add a rule. I can give a custom. I can give a custom TCP. I can give a 8080. Now IPv4. Save the rule. Now let me try this 8080. Okay, it says not found. Okay, so for that you have to do a debug on that. Can open sudo nano demo. Opening it, it has a server. Listen 8080. It has a root etc nginx data ww. Okay, now we are closing the location. Close it again. Okay, sudo nginx -t. Sudo systemctl restart nginx. Restarting is done. Let me check it again. Okay, not found. 8080 security group also 8080 should be working. Let me check it. It's 8080. Now we need to see this path is correct. It is actually routing to this path. Let me copy. Go to cd. Okay, it says there is no folder like this. Let me see. etc nginx data. Okay, because we have given 4 www 1 2 3 4. So that is the reason. So let me correct it. For www, I can close it now. Then once that is done, just do the same operation. Like first we can check the configuration is correct. So Nginx -t will say that configuration successful. Now we can see sudo systemctl restart Nginx. Nginx restarting also done. Now I can come and do this. See, we are getting a hello world. This is very simple, right? So just do some kind of a practice, then only like it will be very clear. So that is all about in this video. So I believe it's clear. If you have any questions, please ask me in the chat or comment box. I will try to answer that. In your next video, we can discuss more about Nginx. Okay. So please do like and subscribe. Have a nice day. Bye bye.